Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new episode, a late night episode of Full Steam Ahead. I'm your host, Zoe. Steban is on the other side. Cantu couldn't make with us today. Of course, we've been flipping and flopping. You had Cantu the last episode. Now you have me and Stebby's been the one more consistent than both of us. But yeah, late night, 11:51 p.m. Central Time in Houston, Texas. Where are the FSA Gooners at this moment, Stebby?
Clock in, Gooners.
Clock it in. Look at that. Zachary Lucas already going. Let's go. And hey, love that energy. We'll talk about who's going to be starting tomorrow for the Houston Astros. We'll throw our thoughts on that because there hasn't been anything set in stone officially from the Houston Astros. But a very tough series against a good competitive ball club in the Toronto Blue Jays. Title this episode is going to be, can the Astros stay afloat? Because now they are a half game in front of the Seattle Mariners. Of course, right now, Steban and I are looking at this game between the Angels and the Mariners. Andres Munoz with a key strikeout against the Angels and runner on third with 2 outs in the 10th inning. But if you're a Houston Astros fan, you're kind of panicking at this moment because you had this lead, at 8-game. I think the largest lead in this division for the Astros was an 8-game. It could have been possibly 9. But now you have the potential of being tied, even could be coming out of the AL West, not winning the division. And not just that, but you could probably not even be tasting the postseason if everything goes downhill for the Astros.
Yeah, these boys are counting their days, and it's about to get really, really ugly for the whole Houston organization and as a fan base for people. People are going to have a really salty taste in their mouth. You know, with a lineup like this and with the team projected to be in the postseason to now possibly cutting themselves short just because they're just not ready. They're just not looking like they're hungry enough. They're making errant little mistakes that should be only done in the beginning of the season. You know, it's the second half of baseball. You need to be playing, you know, on all freaking 10. You know, you got to be on your shit already.
Yeah. This was a very, I mean, I feel like I've been saying this and preaching it all the time when we talk about a series for the Astros. It's frustrating because this team is a very good team. You're in game one. Honestly, they should have won that game. There's no
Yeah.
doubt about that one. Obviously, the Blue Jays came back and won that game. Game two, you saw how that went. Game three, of course, I think you just got to tip your cap to a good starting pitcher and Kevin Gossman win 9
Went all
innings of
time.
shutout baseball against the Astros. Of course, Houston had their opportunities, but it's kind of been the same thing throughout this whole season with Houston, and just runners in scoring positions just continues to be an bomb. Like, it just been abysmal for this team throughout this whole season. Like Brian said, they're shit in the bed. I mean, perfectly right there, put in set in stone, because the Astros had perfect opportunity. That, after the All Star break, if I'm not mistaken, the Astros had the not the top easiest schedule from that second half, but
But we
they
did
were
have
one of the
one of
teams that had the easiest schedule to
them.
finish out. And these teams that are below 500 winning percentages just continue to be a pest in this Astros rotation. The offense, I mean, you can go on base running, defense. I mean, Houston just, and like you said, Stem, I don't know if the team is just not hungry. And of course, we're not the players. We do not know what's going through the clubhouse. We don't know what's going on with this team, but it just feels like they don't have no energy. They have no, like, any enthusiasm. You see Drew Gilbert over there acting crazy in Sanford. I
Yeah,
mean,
he wilding
he's
out
looking
over
like a
there having
maniac out
fun.
there. But you see how the players feed off of that. I mean, the Giants are now back in the wild card hunt in the National League, and because of that, I mean, the Houston Astros had Garrett Stubbs when he was here. Um, you've seen that with the Texas Rangers with Austin Hedges. You always have that guy that kind of pumps up the team and rallies the team together. Always has that positive mindset and that energy. And you just don't see that with Houston this season.
Yeah, it's kind of terrible. And the Astros, another series yet again. Is like you're getting them on, but you're not getting them in, and you're just not doing what we've been saying. They're not doing what situational hitting, and it's quite terrible because the pitching's there. You know what I mean? And then the offense just finds a way just to not win the game, and I don't know what's going on with them. And it seems like only right now you got, as of right now, just Jordan and Carlos Correa that want to play and want to hit. Altuve's been silent lately. He's been in a little slump. They gave him a little day off, and he still can't find it. Yiner, he's just comes and shows. He wants to show out whenever he wants to. Jesus Sanchez, he's kind of been little ghost as well too. I mean, I don't know what needs to go on here. I don't know. Maybe some minor league prospects might be a little hungrier, might need to come up and play the outfield, or because at times whenever people are hungry, there's somebody's always going to want to play your job or do your job better. So if the big dogs ain't trying to get it done, well, let somebody that's hungry do it. If they're too tired, bring somebody fresh.
Yeah, Ryan like said it best. Where's Altuve? We'll talk about that here throughout the pod, as well as Kevin Cerner saying, "Where's the team?" Like I said, a lot of Astro fans are wondering where is this team that's getting closer to October baseball. Usually, that's the type of baseball Astro fans are accustomed to seeing with this team because they're always in the postseason. They're always going deep in the postseason. And last year was kind of a start, if you would say, for this team going not in the quote unquote golden era of Astros baseball, but you never know. Right now, the Mariners are up. Of course, the Angels didn't get nothing done in that extra inning part. But real quick, we're gonna go with the objectives. What we got? Another series loss. Recap that Toronto series. Is it time to move Altuve in the order? That's a question that we're gonna talk about in the topics. Preview versus the Atlanta Braves. Astro injury updates. And of course, maybe if we got a little bit of time, we'll go with a little bit of around the horn. But before we get started, FSA full steam ahead on Instagram, full steam ahead on Twitter, X, and TikTok. We are there. And of course, our YouTube channel, we are still here as well. If you're listening on YouTube or if you're on Twitter, make sure you go to your YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that notification bell so you won't miss any of the interviews and all that other good stuff with reels and shorts and other types of content that we will be putting up. Lastly, of course, the audio part. If you did not want to see our faces on YouTube, you could go to Spotify and Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. We are there. Like, rate, download, subscribe, all that good stuff. But 79-68 is your record for the Houston Astros, first in the American League West. Like I said, as of right now, it's a half game lead over the Mariners. But as of right now, looking at Seattle, you got first and third, top of the 10th inning, no outs. So this division looked like it can be a tie in just a couple of seconds. But the Astros are 4-6 in their last 10 games. And we'll start off with game one because you had Luis Garcia on the mound for the Astros and you felt pretty good because his last start was really good at Dyken Park. And you're going into Toronto against a good competitive ball club, like I said, against the Toronto Blue Jays, who are leading their division in the American League East. And just didn't go as planned for Luis. And Astro fans, I mean, I think a lot of Astros personnel too. You heard the radio broadcast, you heard the broadcast on Space City. Everybody was just in pain seeing Luis Garcia come out of the game in the second inning. Only had an inning and two thirds, didn't give up any hits, no runs, only gave up a walk and struck out a batter. And he only threw 27 pitches. But when you looked at the game, when you saw him pitch, each pitch was very down. Usually you see Luis's fastball up in the 93s, 94s, but I mean, all the velocity was down on every pitch. And what was very noticeable was more than anything was his curveball. My God, his curveball looked like a little league high school player curveball of 71 to 72 miles per hour. It just did not look like anything. Spin rate was down as well. And then later, the Astros announced that he left the game with right elbow discomfort. That's not what you want to hear as an Astros fan. And especially Luis Garcia. He's been going through rehab, setbacks, all of that. And for him to come out of this game, and he even signaled the training staff, he signaled Joe to come out to the mound because he just knew after that pitch. I don't know if it was against Clement or Berger. I'm fumbling his name. He called out the guys, and he just knew from that pitch that it wasn't good news for him.
Yeah, that's a tough one. A guy that's hasn't played in 2 years because of the elbow injury and the Tommy John thing going on. And guess what? Guess who might be reappearing again into a little surgery? Tommy John might be coming back, knocking on the door again. Sadly for Luis Garcia, it's something that you don't want to throw out there, but come on, it's common sense. The guy's down in velocity. Um, caused the managers and the team out to come check on him because he knows something's wrong. He knows nothing normal. If not, he would have thugged it out and played the game on. So just another tough loss for the Houston Astros, especially coming towards this end of the race and the division's getting so tight. You need everybody to be healthy and you need the depth. So this one really is it's gonna be a tough blow, and I just hopefully Lewis could get his stuff together and keep his head right. He's possibly gonna have to undergo maybe another surgery and maybe possibly another mid-season return again. But just got to keep our head up and keep his head up and just hope that he could have a speedy recovery. Same thing with Eric Getty too, with the elbow
Yeah.
as well. Those are two guys right there. Just two really dominant keys, both of these guys.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that in the Astros injury updates. I will say on overall thoughts, I will save a Garcia bit for that one. But moving on to AJ Blueball, who came out of the bullpen. Of course, he had all the time he needed because of an injury during the game. If something like that happens to a starter or just a reliever in general, any pitcher, the guy in the bullpen who's counted to come in has all the time that he needs to get ready, and he just did that, and he did a really good job. Three in the third, scoreless, no hits, one walk, four strikeouts. Guy's velocity is up there, 97, 40 pitches, 28 of them being strikes. That's very impressive from a rookie pitcher. In blue ball, eight swing and misses. And I will have to say, this is going to um, Zachary's comment in the beginning of the show. Who's starting tomorrow for the Astros Friday? I would say AJ Blueball because of the way he pitched. But I mean, 40 pitches, I'm pretty sure the pitch count. If there was an extra day of rest, maybe. But I might be leaning to somebody, which we'll have that preview of the Braves here in a second. But blue ball, I think, could be an option for the Astros to look at in a starter going down the stretch. I mean, he's really proven really well for the Astros as of late when his name is called. You take away his first start. I'm going to his stats right now. You take away his first start, and of course, being a rookie, that's his first start of his major league career. Gave up two earned runs, but after that, he's coming out of the bullpen in August 5th. Gave up two runs and going 5 innings. The 23rd, giving up two runs, going 4 innings. But after that, he's been really solid. Scoreless inning on the 31st, and you move to September, 1 inning, didn't give up any runs, gave up one hit, 2 2/3 on September 5th, just giving up a hit. And I mean, he's a strikeout merchant. I mean, you see the K's right here: 4, 5, 2, 3, and then obviously in this one against the Blue Jays was 4. So that's a guy that you can probably look into, maybe going into a starting role. But we'll just have to see about that. But that's what I'm saying. I think that could be an option. Of course, you still got Lance McCullers Jr., who did come out of the bullpen this game against the Blue Jays with going behind Christian Javier, and of JP France is another guy as well. But blue ball, give me your takes on him, Steban. What did you like seeing from him coming out, being able to pitch that game and
Man,
keep the
I,
Astros,
I, I
in it?
honestly love what the energy that the kid brings to the table. You know what I mean? The name called for it is unfazed. You got an electric stadium on the road, and the fans are trying to get the game started and trying to rush him, and he goes unfazed and takes his time, gets nice and warm, and that's exactly what you need to do in a situation like that where you don't let the game get sped up. You play the game at your speed, and you're the pitcher, so I mean, ain't nobody gonna tell you anything. So, I mean, I give him big props. The velocity is there. The the movement is also there as well. So the future is very bright for him, and you know that's the thing about the Astros is that you don't see a lot of superstars names, but whenever they come up, these guys they do the job and they get the job done and they surprise a lot of opposing teams or even Astros fans because they're like, "Oh, where'd this guy come from?" or "How come I didn't hear about this guy?" And then he just does his thing. I mean, I do remember whenever he was first like getting speculated, they're like, "Oh yeah, I can't wait to call this guy Blue Balls."
I'm pretty sure all the
But I'm
nicknames
pretty
that get
sure
him.
he's out there giving batters blue balls though, not being able to give up hits and stuff.
No, but I saw him at the Futures game in Arlington because he was the only Astro that represented the team in that game. I mean, he has the stuff like the off speed pitches are there, the velocity, like I said, his fastball, his command's really good, and like you said, he brings up young energy to the rotation and into his pitching mechanisms, and I think that's what Houston could really help throughout this little stretch that they have here. Of course, you don't want a rookie pitcher and crunch time, especially with what maybe under 17 games left of the season. So
Hey, but we got it done, baby, with Hunter Brown. So I mean, if he could come up and try to have
and
that
that's what
mentality,
that's why I said that's what I was going to go with because you've seen Hunter Brown come in September for the Astros in 2022. You saw it in 2020 with Luis Garcia, Jose Urquidy, Christian Javier, and then you saw how they sprouted into being good pitchers for the Astros in those years when they won the World
and
Series in
then now you're
22
thinking
and
about it,
21.
since the situation is going on too. I mean, Astros can even look at Ethan Pecco or Miguel Yola. It might be a rush, but I mean, if you need it and then it comes down to it, there ain't no rush. You don't have nobody else. You lost Arrighetti, you lost Luis Garcia. You need somebody. You know, if you're not gonna rely on Lance, then you know you got France as well. Then guess what? You're gonna try to rely on Jason Alexander. I mean, nothing wrong with it, but you really got to make some wise choices here because the Astros have very, very little error to play with due to the way that they've been playing recently and just cutting their comfort.
Yeah, I agree. Brady, we're going to answer that here in a second. Is the Astros run over? It's even funny when he says the Astros won the World Series. He's going to run a marathon with you, Stevan. Another guy that wants to run these
Yeah, but if you
marathons.
if you're doing a marathon, you got to do it in catcher's gear.
Oh, shoot. They're raising it higher. Mata, how many innings will he pitch? Give me the he. Who is the he? Is it AJ Blueball? Or
I
what
think
pitch
Astros
AJ we're
go
talking about?
JP tomorrow, maybe.
It could be JP.
I
Brady
mean,
just
they
mentioned
gave they
Cone
gave
Gordon's another
Pujols.
guy.
Uh,
So
I don't know. Maybe yeah, possibly. But
it
didn't
could,
Gordon just go the other day?
yeah, he got he was
Oh, Angels got it up
dropped
the middle. Angels take the lead 5-1.
5-4. You mean?
I mean 5-4. 5-4, top of the 11th.
Oh, JP. Okay, I meant AJ.
Uh,
So man, I don't
I
know.
think the Astros
It's
give them the
three.
rest.
I think so too. That's what I'm saying. 40 pitches. If it was under 35, then maybe you
Yeah,
see him in the start for Friday. But more than likely, you can go JP and then you could go AJ. You can
yeah,
piggyback off of that starter.
that would be
But
pretty nice.
I'm leaning towards JP as well. Like Steban said, like we'll talk about more with the Braves pitching preview.
Pitching preview.
Real
Yeah,
quick, we'll get the offense out the way because I mean this series was nothing less than 3 runs scored, not to mention.
yeah.
So Carlos Correa solo home run that was number 199. Yainer Diaz 2 out RBI single, and that was it. That was pretty much your Astros offense. 2 for 11 with runners in scoring position. 11 men left on base. Multiple opportunities for this team. I mean, the bullpen, of course, and I had made a tweet of saying Brian Abreu is a great reliever, but maybe the closing role isn't for him. He's struggled continuously in these last 3 appearances after before yesterday. Of course, he got a clean inning yesterday, picking up the save. But if you go back to the previous 3 appearances coming out of the bullpen, he's giving up some runs. Looking at it right here, September 9, that's when he gave up 2 runs against the Blue Jays. Against the New York Yankees, giving up 3 runs. Against the Angels at home, going 2/3 and giving up 3 runs. So that's what I'm saying. In tied game situations, it's just kind of like Josh Hader. Josh Hader was like that last year. When you put him in a tied game situation, usually he does not get it done. And same thing goes for Brian Abreu. I mean, he had a 3-1 lead, just couldn't get it done. And that's what I'm saying. That's where you miss Josh Hader so much for the back end of this bullpen because, of course, when Hader, you have a good chance and really a great chance, honestly, of closing out the game and picking up the W. But with Brian Abreu, of course, there can be different mindsets from a guy that used to be holding and setting up for the game compared to now you're having to go into a closing role and having to shut down the door, to pick up the win. But like I said, nothing against Brian Abreu, great reliever, but that's where you really miss Josh Hader in those type of close game saving situations.
Yeah, that's why you kind of just see the difference from a high leverage closer to a middle reliever or setup type of guy. You kind of just get bumped up. But as a pitcher, you're in the bullpen. You should kind of already kind of want to be prepared and kind of mentally like see yourself as a closer? You know, if I'm a bullpen pitcher, myself as a whatever I go in for, say 3 batters, I'm gonna try to treat it like it's gonna be the end of the ball game. I don't want nobody to hit me, and I'll try to be the sharpest. But I mean, you know, for a Brady, sometimes times just get maybe a little nerve wracking, or maybe the command and control is not there. Versus like a lefty like Hader, he's a little funky compared to your regular average righty throwing pitcher that is not as hard to read the fastballs and stuff like that, and you kind of know, all right, well he's throwing the heaters, the slurs here, and you sit on the slurve and just wait for the heater. So it's like you kind of count your stuff and you play your game of baseball with it.
Yeah, and it doesn't really help too, but we can move away from the bullpen part. But Jose Altuve, and we'll talk about the lineup after we get this recap done. But bad base running and just bad defense on his part. Watching Vladimir, catch the ball at first and then just throws a rocket at third base. Like, what a throw by Vladdy. Props to him. Gold Glover for a reason, not to mention. And when you go look at the replay from Jose Altuve, seeing him run from second to third, soon as Caratina hits the ball off the bat, he's looking at Guerrero's direction and just watches Vladdy throws, and he got caught by surprise, like, oh shit, he's literally coming my direction, and
Yeah.
now I got to hustle. And he was a dead duck at third base. And the next inning, it kind of flip flopped with Guerrero coming up to the plate, and he hits a bounce. Like, it was like a soft ball up the middle, and Jose Altuve having to get it and quickly throw it, but he doesn't quickly throw the ball like he could have had. Honestly, he kind of, I wouldn't say lobbed it. I wouldn't say even tossed it. I mean, he just kind of just threw it like a regular guy, but honestly, he could have threw it a little bit more harder because Vladimir was able to run it out. He was safe, changes the whole ball game. Yeah, that was hard to see as an infielder, and just seeing the base running miscues, especially everybody knows Jose Altuve
Is a base
base
threat.
running, huh?
Yeah, he's supposed to be a base threat.
Yeah, and not just that, but like through the years, you've seen these mistakes that he makes on the base paths.
Yeah, it's
These
just
little careless
it,
mistakes that doesn't need to be made,
it's just
and
lack of IQ, maybe lack of the situation at times, and maybe the game gets a little too fast, and overlooks it, overthinks it, or maybe just biting his damn nails too damn much.
yeah, but it's funny to me because it's like Guerrero knew,
Yeah, of
like,
course. He
if
was
that ball
Guerrero's
is
ahead
coming,
of him.
and you know what? Maybe he even told the third baseman, like, "Hey, if the ball comes right to me hard,
Yeah.
I am throwing this ball across the diamond to
Well,
you
him
and make
him
me a
and
good play."
Addison Barger have a really good
Barger,
connection in
that's
the
what.
infield, and Barger has a freaking. I'm not gonna lie, like the dude's like kind of slept on, but the defense is there and the bat's coming around for him. But man, that arm he has is pretty nice. So I mean, anything kind of hit to the third base side over there for Toronto is kind of shut. I'm pretty sure they missed that since Josh Donaldson, and even what was it, the Brett Lowry days? I feel like Brett was there. No,
Yeah,
yeah,
but that's that baseball IQ even from Guerrero, man. I mean, you got to give him props to like be able to give his third baseman a heads up, like, hey, if this ball's coming at me,
yeah,
I'm throwing it to third base, and you hardly see first basemen go
do that. Yeah,
across the
they're not
diamond at third
aggressive.
base to throw somebody out. Like, that is
Yeah,
rare.
I've yet to see Walker do something like that really either.
The only time I remember seeing a first baseman throw somebody out at third base was, I think it was the postseason, and it was Freddie Freeman, but I don't know what team he was with. I don't know. I don't think it was with the Dodgers. I want to say more than likely it was with the Braves
Braves, yeah,
that he cut somebody off from first base, threw it at third base, and like I said, that's just credit to Vladdy being having that baseball IQ, being aware of who's on the base paths. And for Jose Altuve, this team is struggling to find a win. It's struggling to see a W in the win column for this team. And for you to, being the veteran that you are, a future Hall of Famer, you have to run that out. You put your head down, and you have to have a good secondary, and you got to put your head down and start running to that back, because you never know what's going to happen.
yeah. That doesn't look good in you as a player, especially when you're trying to set example for the younger guys and stuff. And this team is crying for dying need of a run, and you're pretty much in scoring position, and then you have that happen to you. Now you can't be doing that. That's pretty demoralizing to the lineup. to the team as itself, especially when you're a captain like that. It kind of makes everybody think like, well, his head's in his eyes. What should I be doing, or where am I at?
Yeah, I mean, Altuve's just had a rough month, I will say. And when
Well,
I mean
honestly,
by
not
month,
even
by
month. I
like
would
the
possibly
30
say
days.
season. I would possibly say season just because of him having to deal with all the whole teams and injuries and this and that. And let me move here, let me move there, let me play outfield and play second. So, I mean, there could be a lot of things going on, with him like that as well. And then, we're having a family too with that. Besides all that, it's probably it's probably getting to him already now that he's getting older.
Yeah, I think Brady, he was supposed to pitch today, but they scratched him. I don't know if this was to
I
Miguel,
think he was talking about Colton maybe.
Cohen Gordon. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Might call
Because I
him up.
think
He was saying
Miguel might have pitched Monday or
Miguel
so.
pitched September 7. I went to go check and he gave up 7 runs. Not his best start. Um, but yeah, game one, frustrating for the Astros. You have to set the tone because you're like Stephon said, you're dying for a run. You're dying for wins right now at this point of the season. So very, very tough to see that game and try to, bounce back in the next one.
And then right here, let's go to game two. The Victoria's win 3-2. Pitching Jason Alexander the Great. Another dominant outing from Jason with Astros really needed from him. 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, and 3 Ks. And the thing about Jason Alexander too, the damage isn't really done off of whenever they're just hitting. The damage is pretty much whenever they get him on the long balls. So other than that, he's just pretty confident out there. And what I mean by confident, the dude just freaking does not care if you know what's coming. He's gonna rely on that changeup, whether it's up and it's down, and that's where you don't see it a lot. A lot of guys don't throw that changeup up because of it just usually dying off. But Jason's just he's a dangerous man. So I mean, that's what he does, and he gets it done off the changeup. He produced 16 swings and 5 whiffs. So solid outing from Jason. I believe he lowered his ERA to like 2 something with the Astros for right now. We'll have to double check on that. But offensively, RBI double from Yiner. Carlos Correa solo home run, which was his 200th career home run off of Jose Barrios. All his milestone home runs have came in a Houston Astros jersey. So, if you're an Astros fan, you want to have bragging rights about Correa being better in a certain era with the Astros. Well, obviously, he wasn't better with the Twins, but just to have bragging rights is pretty cool for that Astro to get that feat done in the what the heck for the what the heck is going on here? I lost my screen. Okay, I'm back. And then Yainer Diaz breaks the tie in the ninth with a go-ahead solo shot to left. 1 for 8 in running with runners in scoring position and 7 left on base on game. And like we said, Yainer just kind of randomly wants to come up and do well. And I believe Yainer does really well in Toronto. And then I overheard something about Vladimir Guerrero has the lowest batting average against the Astros, and there's like no other team closer to that than but like a 2 something batting average. I think with
Wow.
Astro against the Astros, it's like sub 2 or something against us.
Wow. That's surprising because he's had an
Awesome
all-star
season.
season. Like
Yeah.
he's one of the best and one of the great first basemen in the American League. But yeah, I agree with you. Yonder Diaz with this kind of high beam, low beam going back and forth of being hot and cold. It's almost the same thing. It's kind of like they're both him and Christian Walker are both offset with each other. One of them is hot, the other one's cold, the other one's hot, the other one's cold. It's kind of like you wish you would have both of them being consistent and hot at the same time.
And the
But I
Mariners
mean,
tied it
the Mariners just tied the game.
5-5, bottom of 11, 1 out.
Yep, I just saw what
Crawford
happened.
RBI single.
Yep, just saw it. Just came on my screen.
And you
And
see
then they
how
just
like
played 30.
simple it is. But you see how simple it is just to kind of get a hit and bring the runner in. It's like, why can't the Astros do that in extra innings as well?
No, I'm not 100% sure. I don't know how to answer that because I don't have the answers for you.
Yeah.
If I did, I would be able to, tell you some wins here, and this would be a different pod for damn
And
sure.
honestly, something that I did want to bring up too, and that we did mention last time was about the hitting coach too. Maybe it could possibly be a hitting coach. I mean, Jesus was doing decent in Miami, then comes to Houston and then starts to struggle a little bit even more.
But I mean, if you're gonna say that too, think about with Correa with the Twins. He
Walker,
was
but Walker
struggling.
though,
Correa was struggling with the Twins, and then comes to Houston and
Well, maybe
starts
Correa
thriving.
just got in touch with his private practice people, maybe people that
Maybe,
he
yeah,
probably privately works with in
it could
Houston.
be. It could be, but yeah, this runners in scoring position has always been a Houston staple in the offense for season by season by season. It's always been with runners in scoring position. This team would find a way to struggle, and this team was doing really well in close run ball games. Houston was up 3-1, and then or 3-2, and next thing you know, here comes the Blue Jays again, tying the game. Bullpen kind of crashed a little, and luckily for the Astros, Yonder Diaz came to save the day with that solo shot in the ninth, and Brian Abreu was able to close it in that bottom of the ninth. So yeah, it's just going to Alexander real quick though. I was shocked to see him go back against the Blue Jays third time around because if you go look at his splits from being first to second to third time through the lineup, third
Mhm.
time through the lineup, he kind of struggles. And I wouldn't even say kind of, it's over 300 batting average against him, opponent batting average. But Houston desperately needed him to go 7 innings because of the bullpen having AJ, having De Los Santos, having Craig Kimbrell, Brian Abreu. I mean, they had a bunch of pitchers already kind of pitched out already at that time. Brian is another one. So for Houston and for him specifically, Jason Alexander, that really helped this bullpen. It really helped the Astros, especially because let's say Jason would only go 5 or 6 innings, which he's been giving you about 6 innings every time he goes out there.
Damn
If he
near.
was only going to five, it would be bullpen again, all over again, trying to figure out how to scratch a win and put a W in the column.
So here's something to add on to Jason real quick. The Astros are 9-1 in games started by Jason Alexander, and he had now a 2.82 ERA.
Yeah, he's just been one of the best in the second half for the Astros. He's honestly over Framber Valdez in the second half. Like honestly. And he's on like in contention with Hunter Brown being the first in the second half of the season for the Astros rotation. But what he's been doing is this. I mean, I would say, and this is going to go to overall thoughts. He's your second best pitcher, honestly, in
Yeah,
this rotation.
as of right
There's
now,
no
yeah,
doubt
for
about
sure.
that. And
Yeah,
that's saying
because
with
I
Framber
mean,
Valdez though.
Framber being and I'm talking about Hunter and Jason. Those are your two lockup guys right now.
Yeah, and it's crazy saying that because Jason was picked up from waivers, and Framber Valdez has
Yeah, he got
been
cut from a
Framber
team.
Valdez. Yeah, and it's insane saying that, but it's the cold hard truth right now. He's been pitching really well. He's been pitching better than Framber. And if it was a 3 game series right now, and the Astros had Hunter Brown go game one, I wouldn't be scared to say it. I'd put Alexander for game two.
Yeah, and then Alexander's building his case for easily, possibly a cheap extension for the Astros just to have depth and have somebody reliable.
Yeah, yeah, that could be a possibility. We'll have to see what that looks like. I'm pretty sure the Astros, I mean, they've always found a way to get guys like a Taylor Scott. You saw how that worked out for Houston last year. Bennett Sousa is
And
another
then
guy.
one thing I want to throw out there too, prior to today, Astros starters versus Toronto since 2024. In 71.1 innings, they have put up a 1.64 ERA, 0.87 whip, and a .160 opponent, OPP average. One earned run or less in 9 of those 12 starts. So that was prior to today.
So that's what I'm saying. This
You
this
have their number.
series, honestly, the Astros could have won.
They should have. They had no
And yeah,
excuse
I
for not
agree.
to.
They should have. They swept the Blue Jays in the beginning of the season. And luckily for Houston, being able to pick up that one game, let's say the Astros and Blue Jays magically tie in the last game of the season, their record, the Astros would get the second seed, and Toronto would have to get the third because the Astros season series they won against the Blue Jays 4-2. But
Yeah,
speaking of
this series, the Astros has pretty much just slapped themselves in the face. They beat it. They beat themselves up. They could have won this. They had errors, dropping balls, and just not hitting, and just not playing the solid defense that they needed to be playing, missing simple routine plays.
yeah, and you can say that for the Ranger series. I know I wasn't here for that episode, and I gave y'all my take on it. It wasn't to put a bad thing on the Rangers saying that they're a JV squad, but come on, look at their players who they have. You don't have Corey Seager, you don't have Marcus Simeon, you don't have Adolis Garcia. You're putting guys like Cody Freeman, Michael Hellman, Alejandro
Alejandro
Ozuna.
Zuna.
I mean, you're putting those type of guys, and they were able to pick up that series against you with a full lineup that you already have now with Jordan Alvarez in it. That's unacceptable. You cannot do that. You cannot. You have to win these series if you're the Astros. You have to. There's no doubt about it. If the Astros would have swept the Blue Jays, then that kind of picks up for the mess from that series against Texas. But losing this series against Toronto, losing the series against Texas, the Astros haven't won a series since August, and the last week of August with not the Toronto, the Colorado Rockies. And you take the way Rockies. Before that, it was the Baltimore Orioles. So, and that's a while back now. We're already at September 13. Well, September 12 actually on Friday. And yeah, Houston has to find a way to get something going because you can't keep up losing series by series by series. It's already crunch time. You got 5 series left with Braves going to Atlanta. You come back home for the last homestand with Texas and Seattle. Then you go on a road trip for 2 series against your division partners of Oakland, well, not Oakland, Athletics, and the Angels. Real quick, let me get with game 3, Esteban. That one was pretty self explanatory. You saw it if you were at your lunchtime at work or at school. 6-0. Christian Javier, 6 innings, 6 hits, 4 runs, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. The stat line honestly does not tell the story of how this game went. 87 pitches were thrown, 57 being strikes, 11 swing and misses. The velocity and sprint rate were down just a tick by one. I think it's RPMs, and of course with the velocity as well, miles per hour. But you can't put the blame on him. Let's get this offense out the way. Tip your cap to Kevin Gossman. Did a really good job. Shutout.
Yeah.
Almost had a Greg Maddux. If you do not know what a Greg Maddux is, or not a Greg, but a Maddux, it's when a starting pitcher, throws a shutout under 100 pitches. That's what a Maddux is. If you did not know that. But the offense was nowhere to be found. Oh, I thought you had to
Yeah.
say step.
Oh, I mean, yeah. And if you don't know who Greg Maddux is, man, you best go watch some YouTube videos and do your research on him. That's one of the game's funniest and one of the most dangerous command controlled pitchers that was just knew how to pretty much play chess with a batter, man. And like if you were here the way that he would do his signs, man, he had the most ludicrous type of ways to deliver and tell his pitcher. I'm talking about, moving the glove, scratching his nose, and wiping the head just to wait to let his catcher know that he was going to throw a certain pitch just so that he wouldn't get tipped.
Yeah, and he's one of the best. The professor, as his nickname is called, because of the way he pitches. He's one of the best starting pitchers out there. Um, but going back to the defense, that's why you look at Javier's stat line and you're like 4 runs, 6 innings. What the hell happened? Well, I mean, the defense really was the way it was. Why so many runs scored in this game? Yeah, 6-0. I mean, 4 runs came from Javier, 2 came from Lance McCullers Jr. But Jesus Sanchez, did
Yeah, that line
not
drive.
play good defense. Of course, Houston knew that when they got him from Miami, that his defense wasn't strong. They got him for his bat, and Sanchez just didn't make a catch on a line drive. You saw how the ball just ended up right there on the turf. Runner from third scored, and then there was a fly ball between him and Mauricio Dubon at the warning track in right center. Both of them kind of didn't know who was going to get what. Ball dropped right there between them. And then lastly, to put the icing on the cake of this defensive horrific part, goes to a Bermuda Triangle, infield's in, and as soon as the ball's hit, Altuve's going back, Pena's going back, Sanchez breaking in, Dubon's breaking in, but it was between Sanchez, Altuve, and it's kind of hard for me what to say in that situation because if I'm a second baseman, I'm a shortstop, and the ball's hit up in the air, I'm busting my butt back. Of course, that's how I was taught. I mean, I don't know now with Altuve and Pena or all these other infielders. I don't know how their minds play into that part, but They were jogging. Sanchez was, coming in with full sprint, and no one called the ball. No one called the ball, and it just fell right between them. That's just unacceptable. 3 runs right there came on Christian Javier's stat line, which it should have not been 4 earned runs. Honestly, it should have been maybe 1 earned run.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Today was just a pure punch to the face as an organization of the Astros. The way they played baseball today, it looked like some AAA baseball. Just errant, errant things happening. People just looking lost. People looking confused. It looked like the Astros were just trying to get out of Toronto for some reason. And just they weren't there to play. They weren't there mentally, spiritually. The bats weren't there. Defense wasn't there. I mean, just real tough, really, really tough series for the Astros. Just a big punch in the face and reality slap for them to, come down to earth and be like, hey, you're not the best team in the world right now.
Yeah, and they're honestly not playing. And let's go on to the overall thoughts. This team, this is what I put, and this team doesn't look like the same since the first part of the season.
Most
I,
definitely. Let's
I, I
do
just
that.
do not see, you're in the first part of this season, the Astros were finding ways to manufacture runs. Rotation was really good. Bullpen was lights out. Defense, especially, was starting off well. And I mean, it was kind of the next man up mentality. Of course, injuries coming from starting pitching, as well as the offense, losing your big bat in Alvarez. And it was just passing the baton to the next guy. And now you're looking at different things. You're seeing a lot of hitters in this lineup swing at the first pitch. Of course, everybody knows who does best of doing that in this lineup. You're seeing defensive errors that we just talked about. We've already seen the plague of runners in scoring position throughout season by season for the Astros, and it just continues on to this season. Base running miscues as well. Sanchez making some base running miscues. Altuve. I mean, I can go on and on. Diaz, Walker. So it just doesn't feel like, I don't know, and especially in the second half of the season with the Framber Valdez incident. I mean, this team just looks very different from the first part of this season. We're talking about Joe Espada being manager of the year, talking about the Astros having an 8 game lead in the American League West, doing it with a bunch of guys coming up from AAA and stepping up and all this other stuff. And now it just feels like the plane's
Scratching
going
your
up
head.
and it's just going down.
Yep. The anchor's definitely falling, and they need to get themselves back up ASAP. If not, you're gonna have a big weight to carry to try to climb yourself up because I mean these other teams are just finding ways to win ball games. They're finding ways to stay on the Astros as they don't want to give up. And honestly, they're not gonna give up. I would not be surprised if the Astros give up the lead in the division due to just lack of effort, lack of playing of a team. It's mind boggling how you go from a first half team playing with a bunch of broken players and getting it done to pretty much getting your whole damn starting lineup to T, and it's just not looking good for y'all.
Yeah, I mean, the lineup before, I mean, the lineup in the Boston series or the series before Boston of that trade deadline, you look at it and you're like, man, we're putting guys, and this is nothing against them, especially nothing
Yeah.
against, because they've done a really good job stepping in for the Astros. Guys like Taylor Trammell, Bryce Matthews, um,
Zach
Chad
Short.
McCormick, who hasn't, Zach Short's another guy, Shade Whitcomb. You're putting guys like that in this lineup, and they found ways to win. Cooper Hummel. I
Yeah.
mean, it's
Luz
just
Guillorme.
yeah, the list goes on. And then now that you finally have a healthy lineup with Jordan Alvarez, who has been hitting the damn ball like nothing, like it's a beach ball at the damn plate, and you have a full healthy lineup. You have Carlos Correa, who's done a really good job ever since putting on an Astros uniform, and you cannot win any games right now. You, like I said, you're struggling to scratch a W here and there, trying to find a way how to win a series. And right now, the Astros are going through it at the worst time because October baseball is really near. Like I said, 5 series left of the season. And this is when, Houston Astros fans are accustomed to seeing the Astros play good baseball heading into October.
Yeah, no, it sucks, man. This is terrible. And then on this road trip, really the only offense you get is Jordan Alvarez, 8 for 21, 381 average, 1,006 OPS with 2 RBIs. Correa, 318 with 3 home runs, 5 RBIs, and 4 runs alone by himself. And then Yainer Diaz, 389 average, four extra base hits, 7 RBIs, 7 for 18, and just it's just not enough, man. The whole lineup needs to be doing something. You can't have guys going 1 for 5, 0 for 3, 0 for 4. You just have to do better situational things.
Yeah, and not just that, but you can't win a game with 3 runs, especially how depleted this bullpen is. The starters can do so much as well. Now I'm
Yeah.
trying to just see.
And what's funny too is that speaking of just 3 runs, once they surpass the 3 run mark and score 4 or more, or at least 4 plus, Astros are
Yeah.
20-4 since the All-Star break. Second in the MLB, win scoring 4 or more runs.
And you saw that against Texas. I mean, I was live there to see an 11-0 game.
Yeah, that was
The
crazy.
Astros put up 11 freaking runs. Christian Walker
Yeah,
smacking
we
the
need
damn
you at all the
ball.
road games though.
I don't know about that. I don't have travel money like that always. I don't. I don't. But you saw Jordan Alvarez, you saw Christian Walker. I mean, you saw all these guys step up, and you're kind of like thinking in your head, like, why can this not continue on to the next game? Especially, Sunday, Framber Valdez pitched a really decent game, but the offense just wasn't there for him. Like it just wasn't. I'm gonna charge my laptop real quick. Continue talking. What we can talk
Braves, I
about
go
real
Braves.
quick: the offense wasting starting pitching. AJ Blue Ball, Luis Garcia, Jason Alexander, Christian Javier. They did really good. Really good. Just the offense, like we had mentioned. Esteban already had mentioned about Jason Alexander. Is he the number two guy? Honestly, like I've already put my input that he could be the number two starter of this rotation if the postseason starts today. Your thoughts on that, real quick, before wow, I give my charge.
Yeah, as of right now, that's what I'm. It's what it's looking like. Jason Alexander just seems to be the hungry one, the one that's not unfazed, the one that doesn't get pissed, the one that's not giving no drama. I mean, the veteran, the maturity of him being older is just obviously showing. The guy's just real nonchalant out there. Doesn't seem to care about people getting a hit, him walking somebody. He doesn't care about chasing strikeouts. He just cares about fitting up the zone and just getting his damn job done and not worrying about a damn thing that's going on besides playing the damn game that he got paid for. And that's what you need from a team and all these guys to step up and do. Next man up mentality, get the damn job done. And that's the thing that we're talking about. When we're talking about the first half Astros, it was like those guys were hungrier. The minor leaguers, Guillorme, guys that get DFA'd, Cooper Hummel as well. It's just those guys seem to be the guys that were holding this team up. Because now that you get all the big leaguers up, they don't have no answer for you now. They don't know what the hell's going on. They seem lost. They seem like they're still in spring training form again. Like if the season just barely started, and you like, man, they need to get their shit together, dude. Honestly, Correa and whoever as a team, they just need to get on each other's ass and hold each other accountable because they're gonna have a long summer. That's what it's gonna be, and that's what it's looking like for them.
Yeah, but at the same time, too, how can you do that when you got to worry about yourself? And Correa, like I said, he's worried about himself, his swing, learning a new position, everything like that.
Yeah.
But like you said, I mean, the accountability needs to be there. And Framber knows that he has been pitching really good throughout this season. I mean, the second half of this season. Like, honestly, he should know that, especially throughout that cross
And then
mix up
what
BS
sucks
with
too though about that is that like I hope he's not checked out already. That's what I think, and that's what it feels like that Framber's checked out. Like since the All Star break, he might be checked out. He might be like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna get the season over with. Whatever. It is what it is. I'm not having the best year. I'll just go out there and try not to get injured, stay healthy, and just try to get what I got. But I mean, he doesn't look like he wants to be the dominant Framber that he was last year, just showing so much energy and a little less unfazed. This year is just a drama queen. It looks like.
Yeah, and you make a good point of a guy like him checking out, and you do not want that to happen. I
Yeah,
know
because
for him,
man,
for a
you're
fact, he
trying to
doesn't
get
want
to the
that.
postseason.
Yeah, and you do not like not just that, but you don't want that to happen to you because you have other teams looking at you for the next offseason as a potential guy to put in their rotation. And right now, I'm looking, and y'all talked about it, of course, with the whole Framber Valdez incident with him and Cesar Salazar. And man, I wish I can find it, but I
Well,
believe Bob
looks
Bob
like the
Nightingale.
Astros. Well, it's 6-6, bases loaded, no outs for the Mariners. So you could kiss that one goodbye.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I'm trying to find but Bob Nightingale had mentioned about Framber.
But
Man, I can't believe
losing
I
a
can't
client.
find it. Yeah, it says something about that. I can't find it.
Yeah,
Son of a
he had
gun.
one team checked out on him already due to whatever happened with the Caesar Salazar speculation right there. Which,
Yes,
in my opinion, we didn't get your opinion. I believe did we do get your opinion on? No,
I
I don't
didn't
think
put
we
my
did.
opinion. It was
No,
just you
we
and
didn't.
Angel on
Yeah,
that one.
me and Angel. Yeah,
But
but I
my
mean,
opinion, I could give it real quick. I mean, we don't know for sure if it was a mix up. We do not know all the context of what happened. Of
another ball
course,
game.
ball game, they won.
Yeah, walk
All
off.
right, so the Astros and the Mariners are officially tied for the American League West.
Terrible.
Yeah, like Steban said, if you're an Astros fan, you are. And this is a guy that you had Leo Rivas for the Mariners hit a walk-off home run yesterday. And I don't know who this guy is. I'm trying to
Peralta.
see his
Oh,
name.
freaking Ford, the
Oh,
rookie.
yeah, the rookie
That's
catcher.
one of
And
their
he's a
better
top prospect.
prospects. Yeah.
Yeah, top prospect for them. Henry Ford being able to hit an RBI sac fly to help the Mariners win and tie the American League
Bro, he
West.
kind of looks like Julio Rodriguez a little
I'm trying to
bit.
see who it looks like, man. I didn't know who it was. But real quick on the Framber incident, though. I mean, like I said, we don't know the full context, but we did hear the interviews. I was able to listen to the interviews, and before the interviews had happened, they went to the manager's office. They talked about it, and and all this. And I'm just speculating, but it's kind of like if they had discussed, like, okay, you're gonna say this, you're gonna say this. Everybody shake hands. It's already bygone by bygones. Media's gonna try to make it into something bigger. So just say this, and all of that. When you go look at the video, you can tell, and this is my opinion, that wasn't a cross up. You can just see it. As soon as Framber throws that pitch, he walks off the mound. And something like that, you usually as a pitcher, and if you crossed up your catcher, usually would like give him like a my bad kind of look, or like
Yeah.
hit the chest saying basically my fault on that. It was nothing like that. You saw Cesar Salazar how he looked after, and yeah, in that situation, who would you want? You wouldn't want nobody like that on your team. You wouldn't. It just
Yeah,
looks
and then
bad on you, and it looks bad on the organization.
even so, if it was a timing thing that he was possibly gonna, fuck with the pitch, excuse my language, mess up the pitch clock though. I mean, you would think maybe you could do like a little Trevor Bauer type of thing, like let him know, like, hey, fastball. I'm
Yeah,
throwing a fastball real quick. It's not gonna take you that much time.
yeah. So that's just my thing on it. Of course, like I said, we don't have the full story. We don't have the full whole context of what happened and all that. We just saw what we can see from our own eyes. We can hear from our own ears from the whole interview and that type of stuff. I just threw out my opinion throughout that whole segment of that. And yeah, like you said, Steban, you just hope that he doesn't check out because season's already coming to an end. I don't know if Framber wants to see this team win a World Series or help this team win a World Series, or of course, too, you're thinking about free agency. Like, man, I'm about to, collect some money for the first time hitting free agency. And I don't think Framber's like that, honestly. But for Valdez himself, he has to perform. The second half has not been well to him. And even in the postseason since 20, take away 22, 23, and 24 hasn't been pretty for him either. So for Valdez, you're trying to find a way to get out of that and be able to perform, show teams out there too that you're still capable of being a starting pitcher that's dominant in this league, especially a left-handed pitcher. And I know Angel had mentioned about Max Fried, if I can recall, about Max Fried money, and I agree with him. I don't think he's going to get Max Fried money, especially after that whole incident. And like I said, we don't know everything about it, but that whole mix up with Cesar, I just do not see that happening. But for him, Jason Alexander, the way he's been pitching, and if Valdez cannot find his groove of things, and Jason keeps pitching the way he is, I wouldn't be surprised Alexander is the second guy going into a wild card position, ALDS position, whatever the case may be, because Alexander has looked like a real good pit, like a really great addition to this rotation. And not to mention, he's not a guy that's gonna blow stuff by you. I mean, he's not that wow guy like, damn, 97 off the radar gun, or a knuckle curve like Clayton Kershaw of that 12-6 Uncle Charlie going up and down and freezes a guy. I mean, he generates weak contact. He hits the part of the zone that Caratini or Diaz sets up, and he's just done a really fabulous job stepping into this rotation and be able to help.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that one too. I mean, if you're gonna want a game two guy, I'm gonna go to a guy that's been consistent, the guy that's not gonna give me any drama, any get pissed if anything goes wrong. Because like I said earlier, what I mentioned, Alexander doesn't get phased if he walks a batter, if somebody doesn't make a play, if somebody gets a base hit. No, he just tries to get out because, like I said earlier, all his runs are not off of people getting on base, are not off of walks, are not off of singles, and all off of the long ball. So I mean, in that point, Alexander's just getting the damn job done and just being a pitcher. He's just locked in. He's just he's just locked in. That's just no other way to wording it. He's just not worried about anything else. He's not worrying about trying to get an extension with the Astros. He's not worrying about where he got cut off, where he got DFA'd by the Athletics. He's just worried about his damn job and getting the freaking outing done and getting the day over with.
Yeah, the last time Alexander gave up more than 3 runs, because every start has
Athletics,
been
right?
3 and under. And the last one, yes, you are on the button on that one, Steban. 6 innings, 11 hits, 5 earned runs against the Oak. Keep saying Oakland. It's just happens. The
Las
Athletics.
Vegas, Sacramento, whatever you want to call
Yeah,
them.
July 24 was the last time he allowed more than that.
That's time already. It's a good little time. It's definitely over 40
Over 2,
days.
almost, yeah. I mean, for sure over a month.
Yeah.
It'll be over 2 months by the time September ends. But the way he's been pitching, I mean, really can't say nothing more than the way he's been doing for this team. But real quick, let's move on to Altuve and this topic of where should the Astros put him? Because honestly, like you said, Step on the beginning, they gave Jose Altuve a day off after game 1 of that series against the Blue Jays, and to clear his thing, to clear his head. Sorry, and right now he's still the Jose Altuve that he is. Of course, you've seen the aggressiveness of him. He's not going to take that away, a part of his game, swinging at that first pitch. And last 7 games, 2 for 25. Last 15 games, 8 for 58. And the last 30 games, 21 for 115. You go from 0.080 on the last 7 games, a buck 38 in his last 15 games, and a buck 83 in his last 30 games. This is a guy that we do not usually say to not have at the top of the order, but if you are Joe Espada, your season right now literally is on the line because the Mariners just won.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the right move to possibly put Jose Altuve in the middle or in the lower part of this order going into this Brave series?
Look, if you're a manager and if you're going to be a damn good manager, you're not going to give a damn about anybody's ego in this situation. You're trying to win, and you're trying to put your ball club in a position to win. So you need to put your best guys up to bat on the top of the fourth. Whoever your best guys are at the moment, that's who your best guys need to be at. It doesn't matter if Jose Altuve has been your all-time greatest, all-time this and that. If Altuve is not performing right now, okay, give him a little lack. Don't give him the day off. Maybe bump him down the lineup if you have to. I mean, you do it with Walker, you do it with JP, you move him around. I mean, the guy that really just you kind of don't want to move right now is just Jordan because he's just comfortable. He's barely coming back, and he's not showing no sign of doing worse. He's doing his damn job. So I would kind of just, mix it up a little bit if I had
I'd
to.
say this, like you're saying with Jordan being a lock, I'd say Correa's a lock too for me,
Yeah.
and Jeremy Payne is a lock for me as well.
Yeah, those guys are just they're performing, they're producing. They're not just giving you clueless at bats where they're just swinging at BS first pitches, popping them up, or they're if they get down in the count, they're gonna work that count for the majority of the time with those three guys that we brought up. Versus the rest of the lineup, it's no telling what they're gonna do. No telling they're gonna go down 0-3 quick, if they're gonna fly out, or if they're gonna ground out right away. It's just they just all need to pick each other's brains and have a real team conversation and see what they really want to do here because they have no time and time is ticking. I mean, you see the Mariners just won and now it's tied for the AL and oof, it's gonna be a good little freaking stress time for y'all Astros fans. They know to stress y'all out, don't y'all?
Yeah, if you're Astros fans, you better be taking your blood pressure medicine or find a way to monitor that heart rate because it's gonna be getting crazier and crazier by day,
And
week
let's
by week.
compare real quick. Astros have three at the Braves, three versus Rangers at home, three versus Mariners, three at the Athletics, and then three at the Angels. Mariners have three versus Angels, which is what's going on right now. Three versus the Royals, three at the Astros, three versus the Rockies, and three versus the Dodgers. So if you're looking at this, you're thinking, okay, maybe the Mariners drop Dodgers, maybe they drop the Royals, but if they win the other, I mean, then they got to face the Astros. So the Astros, Braves are gonna be hungry, but they haven't been hot. Acuna's just snapped the 0 for 25 streak. Matt Olson's gonna be Matt Olson. He's their best player regardless. Albies is still gonna be there. You can't forget about Profar. They don't have Austin Riley.
Michael Harris.
Michael Harris is gonna perform, obviously. So you got to be careful because this lineup's still gonna be a sneaky lineup. Don't think, oh, they don't have crap. Acuna's not doing nothing. No, they're still gonna do something, and that's the case with every single team the Astros been facing. Oh, they're gonna be cold. Their lineup's not that good. They're struggling right now. And guess what? They come against the Astros, and it look like they've been the best team in the damn league against the Astros. So I mean, that's the thing. Whenever you look at it, the Astros, I look at it as the Patriots back then. Every team wanted to come, and it's a big victory to be like, oh, I came home with beating the Patriots. Same thing with the Astros. It's a big victory to come and beat the Astros because you know how dominant they've been in the past 10 years.
Yeah. And you look at the pitchers going into the matchups, and you're like, man, this is a dub. This is a win. This is a dub. We shouldn't lose. And we've you saw that at home at Dyken Park with the Orioles. You saw I don't know homeboy's name, but his last name's Young. Almost threw a damn. He threw like a Cy Young. He almost threw a
Oh,
perfect
yeah.
game against the Astros. So I mean,
Brandon Young,
Houston,
maybe?
Brandon Young. Yeah, I think that's the name. But Houston having Texas come this literally this homestand, a lot of Astros fans, I would have to say, has to pack out that ballpark.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
got to
They
make
need
it
they need
feel,
all the loudness.
and just besides that, the team itself needs to go into those games and go into the Braves game if you have to as well, and make it feel like it is a World Series. Make it feel like literally the game that you're playing each and every day could be the last game. It could be that game of 163 of the Mets and the Braves. And you saw how that turned out, that the Mets were able to take that. But you got to treat it like that because your season is on the line. I know it could be even some jobs on the line for coaches, for players. It everything can be like that. And Brian makes a good point earlier on the show. He said we need a 10 game win streak and against the Braves. And this is what the Astros did. If I'm not mistaken, Hunter Brown's start would have been this Friday going
Yeah.
into the series opener against the Braves. But Houston played this. I want to say Houston played this very well. Saturday. And real quick, Stefan, you can go and say the preview of this Braves matchups real quick for everybody because I don't want to take that away from you. But yeah, go ahead
Well,
and real quick, and you can just say it real quick.
yeah, well, okay. The Braves pitching preview. The Braves have a 65-68 record, fourth in the NL East, 4-6 in their last 10 games. Friday, you have your beautiful TBD to be announced versus Hurston Waldrop. Waldrop is posting a 4-0 record with a 1.33 ERA. And I know y'all probably saying, like, who the heck is that is? But I mean, hey, look at the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And then Saturday, you get the Diesel, Hunter Brown, versus Bryce Elder. Brown 11-7 with a 2.25 ERA. Bryce Elder, I believe, was a that's one of
It
the
was an All
prospects.
Star.
Yeah, he was an all-star, right? Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
remember he did have a good season before. He is now 7-9 with a 5.35 ERA. A little banged up this year, so I mean, don't be despised. Don't be fooled by that damn ERA. You know, he's probably gonna
Yeah,
try to look good. He's gonna try to be like Hurston probably and try to throw a 1 ERA game or 2 ERA game. And then Sunday you get a 12:30 start. Framber Valdez versus Joey Wentz. Valdez 12-9, 3.42 ERA, and Wentz 5-6, 5.61 ERA. And I believe Joey Wentz was also a bullpen guy before, so I think he got transferred into a starter, if I'm not mistaken. But I
could
mean,
be.
for the Braves, Matt Olson leads the squad, batting average of 271. Pacing the Braves in home runs, 23, and runs batted in with 81. And then you have Albies 241, 21 doubles, 2 triples, 16 home runs, 50 walks. And then Michael Harris 22 doubles, 6 triples, 17 home runs, 14 walks, batting 241. And then you can't forget of Marcelo Zuna, the slugger that just randomly is like, I guess he'd call him like a yarner too. He just randomly hits bombs and then, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I mean, going real quick back to what my point was. Hunter Brown's now pitching on Saturday. Framber Valdez is pitching on Sunday, which it could have been honestly Hunter goes Friday, Valdez goes Saturday, but they did this for this particular reason, and it's because of that Mariners matchup coming up of that weekend series at home.
Oh, okay.
They're
To
gonna
kind of
have
add the lineups.
they're gonna have Friday more than likely is gonna be Hunter Brown after, of course, Saturday. You know, if everything goes well, same goes for Framber Valdez for Saturday, because that will
Jason,
be their week of rest.
and what do you think? You maybe they'll give Jason the closing,
It could be. I highly doubt it,
or
but
maybe see
you never know.
France, maybe something like that.
I don't know. Maybe AJ Blueball, maybe JP France, maybe Lance McCullers Jr. I mean, Jason Alexander's probably going to pitch against the Rangers.
Most likely.
So, I mean, like Steban said, you look at the numbers and you're kind of scratching your head like, man, this should be a good walk in the park for the Astros. But at the same time, too, like we've seen from years past and even this season, they struggle against these type of pitchers. Waltrip honestly has been pitching really good for the Braves. He's struggled in these last two starts, but before that, I mean, he was throwing 6 scoreless, 7 of 1-run baseball. But now he's kind of hitting a little rough patch, not real rough, but now he's kind of seeing a little bit more of how the big leagues roll. Bryce Elder just coming back from a all-star season, and now in his second season hasn't been the same. And then Joey Wentz, like Steban said, um, I don't have it right in front of me, but like Stebby said, could be from a reliever going into a starting role. Uh, just to go back to answering that question with Altuve, though, Steban, for me, I would think you probably would have to hit him in the 6 or 7. I don't know where, but one way Altuve, I believe, that can fix all of his swinging real quick would be right there. I think in that position of 6, 7, even you can even throw him in the 9 if you really want to. But for him, purposely, he has to not swing at the first pitch. It sounds crazy saying that, especially for him because he's always a guy that's going to swing at the first pitch.
Yeah, most
I feel like
definitely.
almost every at bat you have to take the first pitch. Then you can just see the ball go to the plate. I mean, I'm just talking about college and high school talk right here. I'm not a professional like Jose Altuve, who's a future Hall of Famer, but to get back in the will of things, look at fix the plate discipline, put yourself in a better position. If a pitcher's struggling to throw a strike, don't swing at the damn first pitch if he's throwing 4 straight balls. Make him throw you a strike. And that's one thing I think this team desperately needs Isak Paredes, because he
Yeah,
was the guy that took so many
led by
pitches,
example.
and the discipline was always performed well when he was at the batter's box. And that is a guy that they're really missing right now is Isak, because of the way he performed at the plate, the way he tracked pitches, the way he fought and put up quality at bats, QABs, because he would always make these pitchers work the count, 10 pitch, 8 pitch, 7 pitch at bats. And it's unfortunate we do not know if he's going to be officially out for the season, but he's trying to get back on track to hopefully, join the Astros if they make the postseason. But Altuve, 6 and 7 spot, I think would be a good position for him. Not to mention losing, not having Isak Paredes in this lineup right now really hurts this team a lot.
Yeah, no, definitely. Paredes led by example and kind of let these guys show them how you're supposed to freaking be a baseball player, because out there they just look anxious or just don't know what the heck they want to do up to bat. Like, I mean, like you said, Altuve should, if you bump him down, whatever, you bump him down. But this whole lineup needs to change their approach of things and just see things differently. Do you know what I mean? If obviously something's not working right now, and if you're real superstitious and like, no, I stick to this, stick to that. No, bullcrap, man. You need to change it up a little bit, because if it's not working right now, it's not just gonna magically fix itself. You need to go, restudy your scouting reports, or because people are scouting you and they already know how they kind of want to set you up. So then you should try to maybe be opposite. Hey, he's gonna swing first pitch. Take first pitch. Take the first pitch. Screw it. Let it be. Switch it up then. You know what I mean? Or it's just what you got to do is just different. Right now Correa is the one that's real plate discipline at the moment, and as of right now, that's possibly the only one that's really plate discipline. Him, Jordan, and Pena. You could say anybody else. Just either they're popping up, flying out, and just either striking out, looking, swinging, and it's just like we said. We're just sounding like a broken record here, honestly, because it's probably nothing really severe for these Astros. It might just be just minor little things that they have to tweak. They know what they can do. They know what they're capable of. It's just they need to flip that switch back on. That's all it is.
Yeah, looking
And
at
hopefully the Braves right here could be a team that they could get back in line with. But like
I
we
feel
said,
like we
we've been
say that.
saying this every damn series.
Yeah, I feel like every series we're saying, but this is the team that you can do it against, and you're going against difficult
And
pitchers
last
coming
year,
up.
you really, when you said that, they would. And then when you say it this year, it's like not this year, but I would say since second half started, they have no answer, and they're not backing up anybody's word.
Jordan's a one-man team right now. If we had to do tiers like how they do with fantasy football and all that kind of stuff, like tier 1, right now it's Jordan Alvarez and Carlos Correa.
Yeah.
Tier 2, you have Jeremy Pena. You can maybe say Yainer Diaz right now. Possibly Jake Myers. Tier 3, you got Jesus Sanchez, and you know what I'm saying.
Christian Walker,
Christian Walker, Jose Altuve. I mean,
and then tier 4, you got Trammell and Jesus. Really,
yeah, you get what I'm saying now. But real quick, September in 10 games for Altuve, 37 at bats, 4 hits, 2 doubles, 1 home run, 4 RBIs, 9 strikeouts, and the slash line isn't very pretty with a 108 batting average, 195 on base percentage, 243 slugging, and has a low OPS of each split month being 438. So, and it can, we've seen this happen with players. I'm going to go with a guy that Astro fans are very familiar with is Alex Bregman. You remember in 2021 in the postseason, he couldn't get nothing going. Dusty tried his best to keep him up, in the second spot, third spot, or the first part of the lineup, and Alex couldn't get nothing, to fly down to be a hit. So what he did when it came to the World Series, even probably in the ALCS, I don't have the lineup card in front of me, but I do remember the World Series. He put him down the lineup in the middle part. I want to say in the 6th spot or the 5th spot, and kind of helped him a little bit. And I think it could benefit Houston because you still have Jeremy Pena being in the leadoff spot. If you like, you can put Carlos Correa in the 2nd spot. Put Jordan in the 3rd spot. I mean, Jordan's been batting 2 as of late. Correa's been batting 3 as of late. So maybe you just leave them 3 guys there. And then you just play the hot hand. And right now, Yainer Diaz is the hot hand. Put him maybe in the 4th spot. And then that's where you kind of 5 through 9. It's like a pick apart. Who are you going to pick? 5, you could put Christian Walker. Of course, when you have lefties, you're not going to see Jesus Sanchez in the lineup. So if you have righties, of course, and then in this series, you're going to have Jesus Sanchez in the lineup because Hurster is a righty, Bryce is a righty, and I believe Joey Wentz is a righty. So more than likely, you'll see them. So Jesus can be in the 6, or Altuve can be in the 6, and Jesus go to the 7. So yeah, I don't know where you want to put him in the lineup, but that's my take on
that. So Carlos Correa, 2 weeks and some change left. It's urgent. We had to play better baseball. That's the beauty of this sport. It turns around in just one day. We have to find that day, and that day has to be soon. That's on the Astros lineup struggle.
And that's coming from the article of Chandler Rome, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so, I mean, Correa can give out the hoorahs and the leadership part of the game, and, he tries to do what he can, but, seeing this right now, it's like you can say in this, you can say that, you can do all of the speeches you want. At the end of the day, you got to go perform, and this team has to go out and perform.
And not just him, the team.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. The team in general just has to go out and perform. They have to find a way to win ball games. You got to find a way to scratch a run. If you have to bunt. If you have to drag. I mean, I highly doubt coaches call hit and run in this game right now. You have to call hit and run. Screw it. Call hit and run. But the situational hitting that this team does and has, and that's why they're right now struggling with guys in position to score. I mean, 1 for 8, 2 for 11. And we've said this in multiple series too. 1 for 11, 1 for 10, 2 for 13. I mean, the BS has to stop with this offense. They have to find a way to manufacture a run.
2 for 29 today, which is freaking absurd.
2 for 29 as in the series?
No, as in today, they were batted 2 for 29.
Oh, yeah.
As a lineup, which is crazy, bro.
And who had the lone hits?
It was, I want to say it was Carlos might have been. Yeah. Correa was one of them, and Pena was one of them.
And what did we say? The guys that you do not touch in this lineup? Altuve, Pena, Correa, and Alvarez.
Yeah.
This team has to find a way to score some runs.
Yeah, because they're not going to bat every inning. And then if you're striking out, not doing crap, they're not going to bat till about 3 or 4 more innings.
Yeah. Kevin, when's the last time Altuve got an infield base hit? That's a good question. I'm not 100% sure.
I feel like I've seen it this season. I feel like it was an infield dribbler, but I can't really tell you exactly when it was.
Yeah.
The one that I haven't seen in a while too is probably Astros stealing bases. They just get on base and hit double plays.
And you know what? They were doing that in the beginning part of the season. They were stealing bases.
Yeah, now they're just silent. We used to be a team that was known for being a havoc on the bases with whoever we had, and now it's like the Astros are.
It's kind of like they run away from their regimen. They run away from the plan.
Yeah, they need to stick to the plan. But we could go on and on with these Astros struggles. I know me and Zoe here, we love to talk baseball, so man, we could keep on yapping and yapping.
I will say this: we do not condone shots on this podcast. So, by all means, if you're over 21, do it responsibly. But Kevin, right there, after this pod, by all
And
means.
that's how the Astros have some of these Astros fans feeling, man.
Now,
And
I'm
that's
pretty sure. I wouldn't doubt it. I'm pretty sure you see Astro Twitter with the
yeah.
Kermit the Frog meme of him falling out of the building, the stuffed animal one.
Yeah, and
But
and some of these guys are ruthless out there. Some people are fans, and some people take this stuff down to earth. Like I said earlier, what we were saying about Astros need to packing out the house. It's like if Astros fans could do that to pack out the Astros, then that's going to boost the morality of the lineup, and the lineup might play a little bit better. But if you look at other ball clubs, Houston's like I feel like Houston's just like a poser fan base city. Now I'm not talking crap
well,
about, not yeah, but if you think about it, you do have your diehards. You go to the game and you could really pick apart who's a fan and who's just there for the damn margaritas, who's just there to get freaking drunk, and who's just there to post a picture for Instagram and Snapchat stories and crap. You know what I mean? You have a lot of people that are just there to get shit faced, basically. You know what I mean? You ask them something about the game, they're probably not even going to be able to tell you what just happened or who was the last hit last inning. They're just going to be there just drunk, yapping, and just having a time. And don't get me wrong, nothing wrong with that, but you know what I mean? It's nice if you actually know what you're doing as well, too. You look at other fan bases, you got whole organizations, fans giving them standing ovations when they're struggling and stuff like that. When have you seen something like that with the Astros? No, you get boos, you get silence, you get people doing the waves and shit. No, get into the damn game and take notes as a fan. You also have input and could lead to what goes on in a baseball game, not just the baseball players. You know what I mean? If you're not cheering for a team, you're kind of not going to want to go out there and be like, oh, well, these guys can't care less. Why do I care? You know what I mean?
Stepan right there just gave everybody a little lesson of faniology. So make sure you take notes on the next class and next course whenever he does it. But yeah, I mean, he does have a point. I mean, some fan bases, you saw that with the Phillies, give Trey Turner a standing ovation.
Oh,
You've
yeah. He went on
seen
a
the
tear after
Rangers
that.
try to be like the New York Yankee fan base and start doing the name calls of each
Yeah, and
player.
I'm not with the name call stuff like that, but I mean the standing
I
ovations.
get what you're saying though. I do get what you're saying. You got people that go out there have a good time by all means. That's what baseball is all about. Bring out the family and have the vibes and be alive with everybody. Friends and family. But
Yeah, for sure.
same time too, you're fighting for a spot, especially you got to find a way to support your team. So
Be loud, just be loud, just be energetic. You know what I mean? That's all that I would have to say for
that's
the
all Esteban is
diehard
after.
Astros. Yeah. But let's go ahead and move on to the Astros injury update so we can hurry up and cap off this episode. We know y'all have to go to bed. It's already 1:30 if you're a
Jesus
Houston.
Christ, 1:13 in the morning. God bless.
Yeah, so let's
Name
get to
another podcast that would be doing this, huh?
yeah, I don't
Name me
really know
another one.
any.
Name me
So
another.
shout out all y'all Gooners, every single one of y'all that are still here, rocking with us regardless of the times that we kick off and bearing with us, you know, for what we have to deal with as
What are
well.
they called again? What are they called?
The late night Gooners, the full scene Gooners, the Goonie Tunes, whatever you want to call them. But
Lead us off.
okay, Astros have recalled JP France, the Frenchman, the mustache, whatever you want to call him, from AAA Sugarland and have optioned Logan Van Way to AAA Sugarland. Astros have placed right-handed pitcher Luis Garcia, Rock the Baby, is now rocking himself back into the IL with the right elbow discomfort on the 15-day injured list and have recalled right-handed pitcher Nick Hernandez from AAA Sugarland. As well, on the 10 Astros players currently on the IL, you get Spencer Arrighetti, obviously with right elbow inflammation as well. He is scheduled to receive a second opinion on his right elbow this week. Left-handed pitcher Josh Hader, left shoulder capsule sprain, is rehabbing in Houston. Currently not throwing, which I believe Hader, you're not going to see him unless the Astros do make it to the postseason or are a do or die situation with the last game of the season, possibly. Right-handed pitcher Caleb Ort, right elbow inflammation, currently not throwing, is scheduled to transition to Florida this week. Left-handed pitcher John Rooney, left elbow inflammation, scheduled to undergo surgery on his left elbow this week and will not return for the season. Left-handed pitcher Bennett Souza, low-grade elbow flexor pronator strain, is rehabbing in Florida currently, not throwing as well. Brandon Walter, left elbow inflammation, scheduled to undergo surgery on his left elbow, and will not return this season. Outfielder Zach DeZenzo. This is a guy that Astros been waiting on as well too, since he went down. Left hand capsule strain. Currently rehabbing in Florida after being pulled from a rehab assignment due to a right elbow sprain. Outfielder Pedro Leon, left knee sprain, continues his rehab assignment with AAA Sugarland. Infielder Brandon Rogers, almost forgot about this guy. Concussion, nasal fracture, currently in Florida rehabbing after being pulled from a rehab assignment due to a lumbar spine inflammation. That lumbar spine ain't nothing to play with. And Isaac Paredes, right hamstring strain, currently in Florida, undergoing hitting and running and defense progression.
A lot of names, a lot of key names, especially on that list. And you're hoping for Spencer. And these injury updates were, from the Astros, and this was from Friday's updates. So more than likely, you can possibly potentially see an update on Spencer Rigetti's second imaging coming up in the later days, or maybe this series coming up. We don't have the full context of it. But with Rooney being able to pitch only one game and then having to get Tommy John surgery, that's very unfortunate. So Brandon Walter and another guy too.
That
That
one really
that was
hurts, man.
yeah, that was very unfortunate because he was really pitching well for Houston. uh Souza or Hader. I mean, I can go on, and I forgot to mention this. This is why I gave the Astros a B when we talked about our trade deadline grades.
Yeah.
This is why I gave them a B, because the Astros needed to go get a starter. They needed to get a starting pitcher because you had to watch and find, ways to prevent stuff like this. Spencer Rigetti. Now Luis Garcia goes on the IL too. That's two starters. Lance McCullers Jr. has been, pitching really well as a starter. Christian Javier still trying to get back of things. You could have got a Merrill Kelly. You could have got an Andrew Heaney. You could have got a Mitch Keller, a Zach Gallen, who's still with the Arizona Diamondbacks. And of course, we did mention that in that episode that starting pitching was very high. The market was high for starting pitching. But you never know with guys like I said, Merrill Kelly's like in his mid 30s. But of course, we saw how that trade, I think it was like two top 10 prospects, and I think one that was out of the top 10, if I'm not mistaken. But starting pitching is very due for Houston. Don't be surprised this offseason, especially the Astros are going to find a way to go after starting pitchers either in the free agent market or in trades. And it's just very unfortunate for this team what they're having to go through, because I've never seen a season like this that the Astros had to go through multiple injuries regarding the offense and the pitching.
Yeah, and then when you look at the Martins trade, you kind of scratch your head and think, man, if you look at it, what if we didn't get Jesus? What if we went for possibly Sandy? You know what I mean? Would have been a little bit more, but or even Edward Cabrera, either one of the two guys would have been fine with. Because look, if you put it at this point, the way that Jesus Sanchez has been playing, you pretty much would have kind of, I'm not bashing him, but you kind of would have been safe with probably just rolling out Trammell or Jacob Milton at that point. The way that he's been producing, I really don't see a big difference. Whereas, like, oh man, Jesus was the trade. When if Astros would have just maybe, all right, screw it, get Edward Cabrera. I got Jacob Milton. I'll bet on him, and then I got Trammell. I'll bet on him. You know what I mean? And that's just kind of what could have been. But you know what? Whatever happens, happens. We are not GMs. We don't make the trades.
No, we are not.
And we are just here to provide an input and an opinion on your Houston Astros.
Yeah, most definitely about that. Kevin said, next game I'm going to take a microphone to be loud. Like that energy. Love that energy, dude. No other pod is like it. And of course, he ends it off by saying they not like us.
Sheesh.
And then we're in that little Kendrick Lamar reference right there.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, that's the end of our show. An hour 30 is in the books. 1:20 in the morning in Houston, Texas. Yeah, that's insane. God bless each and every one of y'all souls for listening and staying up with us throughout this episode. And we appreciate, like Esteban said, the FSA Goonies, Full Steam Gooners, Goonie Tunes, all the whatever you want to call yourselves. We appreciate each and every one of you. But if you weren't here in the beginning of our show to tell y'all where you can find us, FSA Full Steam Ahead on Instagram, Full Steam Ahead on Twitter, and on TikTok, on YouTube as well. We are there. Subscribe to the channel, give it a like, thumbs up, hit that notification bell so you won't miss any of the shorts and the reels that we'll be putting up. And as well, if you're on the road Friday, of course, Houston Cougars are going to be playing the Colorado Buffaloes at U of H. So that'll be an interesting one. We're seeing Prime over there coaching on the sidelines. But if you don't want to see the beautiful faces of us and you want to hear us maybe at the game, college football this weekend, of course, NFL, all that. You want to hear our voices before you hear your matchup.
Canelo, Terrence
We are on
Crawford.
the audio. Oh, Terrence Crawford, Canelo. Can't forget about that either. Yeah, you can hear us beforehand on the audio part of Spotify and Apple Podcasts where we get it. We are there. Like, rate, download, subscribe, give us some feedback as well. We really appreciate, like we said, each and every one of you. We did not forget about the giveaways. We're gonna try to put as much as we can. I believe I promised two for sure. More than likely we can get three if anything. Steban, final thoughts before we go off.
Honestly, this is a pretty good episode, I believe, for what we had to handle with and lots of controversy. I think this would be a good one for anybody to give a listen and just hear our opinions. And also we would like to get a little bit more comments on the feedback of people that have listened to the pod. Whether it's on X, YouTube, or even leaving a comment on Spotify. You can leave comments on any one of those, and any little input, any little feedback just helps us, even if to make it become better. Little things that you might want to hear or want us to cover on. Shoot it our way. We won't be turning down a lot of stuff, so you never know. Anyways, appreciate every single one of y'all. God bless every single one of y'all for staying here and rocking out with us. And those of y'all that are barely gonna give us a listen the next morning, good morning. Have a good Friday. Have a fun weekend. Hopefully, we'll be hearing from y'all again to recap this next series, and hopefully, it's actually a victorious series.
Yeah, I couldn't say it best. Someone took everything out of what I have to say. Everybody, more than anything for me, just stay safe. I forgot to mention before we started the show, never forget with 9/11, 24 years. It's unbelievable, but never forget about the people. And of course, prayers to, tragically, to even the day before with Charlie Kirk. That was honestly painful to see. But yeah, condolences to the family. Like I said, with 9/11, never forget, because their thoughts, prayers with the families out there. But other than that, y'all stay safe. Y'all have a good and blessed weekend, and we'll give you the recap of that series of the Braves and get you ready for that homestand, a very important homestand against divisional foes that are going to be fighting for first place, second place, third place of this division. So it's going to be a wild ride. Until then, y'all stay safe, and we'll talk to y'all soon.